We're working my roommate's RB-2 again. I always recommend anybody who buys a new or used bike to bring it back to the shop, you know, within 30 days for a checkup. You know, wheels always come out true a little bit, a couple spokes need to be touched. Little things will happen here and there. She's been having some issues. She's been dropping the chain a lot. Part of that was she's never really ridden a little bike before. And she was trying to shift while hitting bumps and pedaling real hard. So kind of got her to stop doing that. She said this chain will go like fine for 5 or 6 days and it'll still drop once in a while. I used that short cage derailleur with the road link extender. And I was like, it looks like it works, but I just don't think it has enough V tension, doesn't wrap enough chain to keep it from dropping. That's probably why they invented the drop stop chain rings, but those are ugly mountain bike things that stick to your chain and not fun to ride. I've also noticed her handlebars, as you can see, are pointed, should be about here. They're down here. So we're gonna mess with both of these things. She does absolutely love the bike. I'm trying to talk her to getting fenders because it's getting real crusty. So it stops great. People jump to the road in front of her. She has no problem slamming the brakes on. I originally used the original short cage Exage derailleur because it was in mint condition. But it ain't cutting it. I bet I need to lube this chain too. Should probably never put air in the tires if I do that. Let's check out this bar first. So the bar is a little scary. This is a fancy old SR bar, and it's got the basket stays on it. You know, a lot of leverage, putting a lot of standing and climbing. She didn't realize it was a multi-geared bike. I told her it was. She didn't really touch it for a while. I told her to play with the gears. Then she thought it was only a 3-speed. Today she's like, oh, I'm so excited. I found out there's a 4th gear. I'm like, there's 6. There's 6 gears. 6 clicks, 6 gears. Like, no wonder we're having a hard time going up some hills. I keep thinking that maybe I didn't gear the bike right for her, but she just hasn't even tried, you know, the top 3 gears. So hopefully I just didn't have this tight enough. If it keeps slipping, there's a couple things you can do. It sucks because the basket's kind of in the way. But you can take the bar and stem off and take a little 80 grit emery cloth, like a little sandpaper. Just lightly cross-hatch the inside of the stem and the outside of the bar just a little bit. You can't really make the bar smaller or the stem bigger by sanding. You'll never do that with sandpaper. It's 20 years trying to do it by hand. So you're just trying to add this little texture. There's a lot of gap still. I mean, this is 25/4 stem, this is 25/4 bar. But machining tolerances are different and wear and blah, blah, blah. You can cut a real thin shim out of a beer can and stick it in there. Beer can shims are sketchy, but technically legit. I've done them on a lot of bikes for myself and rode them for years and never had one slip. People do the seat post all the time. I think that's a little more sketchy. I think the other way around, but so I'm going to loosen this dude up. I guess we should see how tight it is first. Everything's in my way. So I got it to move quite a bit. You know, a whole quarter of a turn there, and it's pulling kind of hard, not that hard. So we're going to try to just tighten it up. And I'll keep an eye on it. She doesn't even notice if it slipped. It's horrifying to me because whenever I get cruiser bars to slip, it's when I'm standing. I can feel them move and the whole, I'm like, oh. So we're loosen them up. We're going to move this bar in place. We're going to retighten them. And I'll check. I'll take a look at her bike once in a while. See if we got to go any farther, which I hope we don't. It's going to be a pain. Right, that's super loose. Oh, that is so loose in there. That is really loose in there. That's probably why it's slipping. The basket's on tighter than the stem is right now. Oh, that's a problem. But I got them up to about the angle I like. Almost parallel with this parallel stem, but just down like a degree. I want you centered up. Centered. Still where I want them. Try and really crank it down. And slips again, we will be playing with the beer can shim. Sometimes the beer can shim you can get to wrap all the way around the bar. Sometimes you can't. Usually you can't. Usually when you go part way in, just take up a little bit of space because it's probably, the bar is probably really 25.3 and the stem's probably really 25.4.5, so it's like not enough like a real Nitto shim. Like, Nitto makes thin stainless shims are like beer can shims, but they're 25-4 to 26-0. You can't get those in. I've seen people, it's like a 2-part shim, one for each side. I've seen guys just use one when a bar is a little loose like this. And that's interesting, and if it doesn't slip, it doesn't slip. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say beer can shim, I actually mean taking a beer can, it's thin aluminum, and cutting a little rectangle out, wrapping it around the bar, making a little shim. I don't want to bend or snap that bolt. Does that bolt look bent to me? It does, a little bit. So we might have to replace that if if these don't hold. We'll see. That might be enough. It might just fit a little bad. That's normal. Sometimes things are just, one thing's a little, you can do this tires and rims sometimes too. Sometimes a wheel is just a hair oversized, the tire's just a hair undersized. And some tires are just tight and impossible to get on a wheel. You're like, there's something wrong with this wheel. And they grab a different brand of tire and it just goes right on. Like, machining tolerances aren't exactly all the same. Alright, let's do this derailleur. Alrighty. Just checking the shifting, it sucks. The chain's really squealy and dry, like it looks. Cut this narp off. I'll definitely have to undo the quick link in the chain. We'll do that in a minute. You can see there's like no tension on this chain. And I could pull it back and cut the chain too short to add more tension, then we wouldn't be able to get up on this really big ring. That's what we wanted. The 1x I want a bigger freewheel or a bigger cassette, so you can have more range, so you don't need the 2 rings in the front. My favorite flannel snow penguin sheet gave up the ghost, so I shredded it. And now I have clean rags for a while. Yay! Alright. Why are you falling off so easy, chain? It's like this chain ring's designed to shift, but it's not. Alright, quick link pliers. Probably on the floor somewhere. There they are. Does this chain have a quick link? It's a Z8 speed. I probably used the quick link. Ah, it's right on the bottom. Perfect timing. And squeeze. And the quick link popper's open. And try not to lose these little ends. And I probably just lost those little ends. I see it. Oh, and I have a junk one down here. It's 8-speed tram. Let's throw that away so it doesn't confuse us. Let's try to decide what derailleur to put on this bike. I have some XT ones. Some stuff is too nice. She doesn't care. I don't care. I got an LX one I thought about, but LX isn't cool. I think it's cool. LX stuff's great. It's cheap. But I got this. It's a STX RC. It's 8-speed. I think it's more like a early hybrid-y thing, but it's basically the same as a nice Dior XT derailleur, you know, maybe a little more steel in it or something. But it looks really low miles and in good shape. It's a long cage, be able to wrap more chain, be able to hold more tension on that chain, sucking it way back up and up. We're going to give her a go. Hopefully the chain's still long enough. If not, I saved the rest of the pieces I took out in case we had to do this. Because the short cage derailleur and the road link was an experiment. It did not go well. Because I got 8-speed Dura-Ace group I wanted the same thing too, and they only made short cage. I can do something with put an XT on, but I've gone through pains and lengths to make it all Dura-Ace. Still might do it, I might just do it with the bash guard. Those ugly clamp-on chain drop stop things. Alright, gonna wrap this chain. Remember Shimano's got this lip here, so you gotta come around the pulley, then up over this lip. If not, you'll be hearing a grinding sound when you're trying to ride it. That is a lot of tension on this chain. Maybe it'll hold it, maybe the chain's long enough. Maybe it's not cut too short, it probably is, but I'm gonna put it back together first and see. This says KMC 1D. This says KMC 1D. This is probably the right things. Probably. Maybe. Who knows? Rehooking it in. Give it a little pop it into place. You stay put. Gotta make sure the limit stops are set correctly. Someone bought some cranks from me off eBay. They're like, I bought these cranks because I needed 9-speed ones. You said they were 9-speed, and I bolted them on and it doesn't work. And I said, the exact same ones you had before? Did you, all chain lines are different, all cranks are different. Did you check to make sure bottom bracket's the right width? Did you adjust the front derailleur to the new cranks? Silence. People don't want to hear stuff like that. It's like, oh, he's bolted on and go. No, nothing's bolted on and go. Wow, this really does not want to keep a chain on this ring. I'm impressed. This looks like it's in line. I bet the high limit, or the low limit's not right. Oh, it totally is. I was pushing it with my thumb to see if it'll derail and I have to change that limit. I want to make sure it gets up on that ring, it will not go over. I want to make sure it falls back down. Make sure it falls back down into the little high gear. It does not fall over. There's not any problem falling down. So it's a cool baby. Let's see if we can get away with this shift cable. Oh, it lines right up. We're past the little mushed area. Another trick you can do, I like cutting these really long so they never crimp at the ends, but also if I'm like, oh, this cable's just like a centimeter too short, I can just cut a little extra off this piece of housing, you know, refile it and put a new cap on and then make it work. But I think this is magically lining right up. Also, I told my roommate that this bike is super, super cool because it's a Bridgestone RB-2. It's little, it's lugged, it's 80s. And I told her people to stop her on the street and harass her about how cool it was, and no one has yet. It's sort of breaking her heart. It's a little bit of play. It's kind of breaking my heart too. If you see this bike on the street, you tell her, hey, that's a super cool Bridgestone. This is how I like to clean chains. I just like to dry rub them. Clean rag, get as much dirt off as I can, and then I just lube them. I don't pull them off. I don't put them in shaker bottles full of chemicals. I don't use big plastic contraptions. Doesn't matter. People are going right back to riding them. We're going to get wet. Hold it down at an angle, try and get the inside. Hold it up at an angle, try and get the inside. Let's lube this dude. Tri-Flow is my favorite lube. It's old school. It's waterproof. It smells like banana runts. Can't really smell it. And it's inexpensive. And most bike shops carry it. Everyone's all worried about dry lubes and all this wing nutty stuff. Maybe if you like boiling your chain and cleaning it all the time, putting dry lube on and never riding in the rain, maybe that stuff's cool for you. Maybe you like it. You can like it. I don't mess with that. I'm in Oregon. Let's do like a half a drop on each link. Pedal on nice and slow. Try to get to shut up. Still hear it. Why can I still hear it? Maybe these pulleys? Is pulleys thirsty? Need a little bit. Doing the little pie plates on the pulleys to hope that they fall back behind. Got a little quieter. Do the pie plate on the back side. Not trying to get lube so much that it drips everywhere, but I want to get some. Oh, come on, man. I want to get some in there. I hear that? Oh, never mind. There's still some squealing. Fine, I'll keep lubing you, dude. I'll drop on every single roller pin. That's the little round thing in between each chain link that goes around the pins. You don't want it on the outside of your chain. All it's going to do is attract dirt. You want it inside. You want to go in between these rollers, in and around the pins. Or it'll make things quiet. If you get too much on here, you're going to spray it all over your braking surface, so trying to go light, even though it's squealing. Come on, man, why are you squealing? The trick is you get a bunch on, you're supposed to pedal backwards for 2 minutes to get it to soak in. Cool. Who knows what the derailleur's been through. I'm going to lube its pivots a little bit. This derailleur could have been cleaned in a chemical soak at a bike shop. Could have all the grease stripped right out of it. I don't want that. I want it to shift nice. Come on, soak in. I play with this shifter. Wow. Didn't even touch the barrel adjuster. This is a pretty big cassette. I want to make sure that the top pulley on the derailleur isn't actually grinding on the teeth on this high gear. I think it's fine, but I want to add some more B tensions that screw up here. That'll move this whole body back kind of more permanently. Take all the tension off that screw by lifting it all the way up so it's not actually touching the little pedestal on the frame. Roll that screw in most of the way. You can see there's a pretty big gap between that pulley and this tooth. Like, almost a centimeter, and that's what I wanted. Now this chain is pretty tight. Could I come forward more? Could I do more? I mean, we really even might be able to take a link out. Maybe this chain really is too long the whole time, 2 floppies. That's a nice shift in. While I let this lube soak in, I'm going to go find another little fun blue cable tip. Narp it on. I like to load it in these pliers. I've been using the little park pliers. Have a little thing too. That works kind of okay, but I like doing it. It's some big old channel locks. Putting it on, slide the channel locks up as far as it'll go. Real good squeeze. And you always do one squeeze. You never turn to the side and do a second one. It'll just undo what you did. It'll make it fall right off. That still looks pretty good. All silver. It's always been a nice looking derailleur. It's just like, you know, it doesn't say XT on it, so no one thinks it's cool. The cranks that come with the hybrids of these are kind of ugly. I think it's cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and just rub the outside of the chain lightly. We don't want a bunch of lube everywhere. We don't want it dripping off. Burrow a little dirt on my poor little pandas. Or my little Christmas penguins. I think that's cool. And this bike has converted her. She hated her old Huffy. She's been riding this every day. It's 5 miles each way to work and back through the city. She's been going the long way, taking the waterfront and taking bike paths, and so she gets to work feeling energized and happy. And I remember that about bike commuting every day. It was wonderful. Days you skip or you're lazy, you take the bus or something, you're like tired and groggy all day. Getting that blood pumping, get her heart rate up. So she said I've completely converted her, and she's a total Portland biker now. She's from Kansas. So that is great. So I figure you guys might like that part of the story. If this was a real 382 at the shop, I would probably pull the wheels off, put them on the truing stand. This one's dead ass. Make sure the hubs aren't loose. Ooh, this hub's a little loose. I can rock it back and forth a little teeny bit. I should probably mess with it. Okay, I will. Make sure the headset didn't come loose. Still nice and smooth. I feel no play at all. Gotta make sure the seat doesn't look like it's slipping. Make sure the bars don't look like they're slipping, which they definitely were. Make sure it still shifts perfect. The chain's oiled. Make sure the brake pad still looks centered. Yeah, that's a little too loosey-goosey. Still smooth. Still centered. I'm going to turn the barrel adjuster on this back one up a little bit. It's quite a bit. Cool. I guess got to adjust this front hub. It's part of the deal. I'm doing the quick release, I'm doing this quick release. If you watch the video of me installing this basket, you'll see I took these stays, I leveled this basket, I took these stays, I cut them down about 6 inches off, reflattened the new end in the vise, drilled a new hole, mounted them here on this bolt instead of you trying to use them on the quick release axle. They have a big hole so you can go over your axle and then make the jet basket sit up all at a horrible angle. So cut that stuff out of the way, and I'm glad I did, because that means I can just use the quick release like normal and drop this wheel in and out. I don't have to fight, mess with anything. Guess I'm just going to get down on my hands and knees, and we'll just see. I'm going to hold one side, should be 17mm lock nuts, and just see if either of these are loose or anything moves. It kind of moves. I didn't take any play out. I'm going to make sure the quick release side here is nice and tight. No, 13. A little excess grease all over these hubs, so I always put too much grease in. Makes a nice water seal. Okay, that side's nice and tight. This side I'm going to hold the cone. Theory, if I can find it. Where are you, cone? See if we can loosen this lock nut a little bit. Yep. Tighten the cone just a teeniest little bit, and that moved a bunch. That moved a bunch. And you're wicked too tight. Still pretty loose. I'm trying to just hold this lock nut down here. There's a bunch of different ways of doing this. Guys clamp this into an axle vise, do all this stuff. I just like to play with it. I kind of use a low working tension, so the lock nut's kind of down tight, but not that tight. So I can turn the cone and the lock nut together. That was the wrong way though, righty tighty. So just tightened it. See if we can turn them both together the other way. Holding this bottom one. Still too tight. Feel all that grit and grind. Not tight anymore, still a little bit of play. Trick with doing it this way is you'll often end up doing it 5 or 6 times. But I found the axle vise way was the same way. I'd do it too much, it'd be annoying. I'll hold the bottom. Try and tighten this, that's just going to move them both again. So really the trick is, I think I do the 3 wrench method. I hold the bottom. Ugh. Come on, bottom. Hold the spokes. Hold the cone. Hold it through the spokes. And then tighten that guy. And check, and it's insanely tight. And now it's super loose. Come on, hold it. Tighten it up a little bit. I'm moving, I can see both the cone and the axle lock nut are moving at the same time. Trying to get it just right and then tighten the lock nut onto that cone without them both being able to move. Still feel a little too much play. Almost imperceptible. Probably the right amount. So I'm holding this side's axle, holding this side's cone, so hopefully I only tightened this outer locking cone. And now I'm going to do what I should have done in the first place. Just wipe some of this excess grease off. I wanted to build a nice grease layer on the inside so water doesn't get in. It doesn't actually need to be poking out and getting all over my hands and getting over anyone who takes it out and tries to play with it. Ugh, all my tools. I'll pop this dude back in and we're going to check. Definitely have some grease on my fingers from this, so I'm going to try and not touch the braking surface, if at all possible. I mean, anything can be clean, but it's better not to try and clean grease off brakes. Nice and smooth. Going side to side, I feel no play. Probably golden. Now I'm going to do the real fun part of making sure these tires are pumped up that you don't need to watch. So thanks for watching.